Good evening, wrestling fans. I am Ronnie Stockholm, and we are on the eve of NWC's biggest event yet, Full Effect. Yes, friends, just 24 hours from now, the gladiators of NWC will go toe-to-toe in this company's first ever official Supercard event. And tonight we set the stage by not only revealing the full event card and previewing some of the hottest rivalries to take center stage, we also have 4 exciting pre-show matches to present to you to whet your appetite for destruction. All this and more on this special Full Effect pre-show event. What an absolutely amazing card we have for this one-of-a-kind event, folks. It is headlined by the finals of the NWC Round Robin Tournament. In the final overtime round of this climactic tournament, we're going to be seeing Spencer Watts, Paul Gravett, and Brawler Beckett tangling in a 3-way dance, with the winner going on to face Angel Face Damian Black for the NWC World Championship in the last match of the evening. In addition to that, we have the INCW Women's Championship held currently by the White Rabbit, Nikki Wilde, taking on the Siberian Cyborg, Anna Sokolov. Furthermore, we'll be seeing the newly crowned INCW Men's Champion, the Mad Chef Gorgon Ramsay, facing off against an old rival, the former INCW champion, the surgical specialist, Akira Wilde. And we will also see the INCW Tag Team Champions, the Masked Invaders, taking on the Diners Club in the form of Shade and Vinny Durango for the INCW Tag Team Championships. We have all of this and so much more on a loaded edition of NWC Full Effect just 24 hours from now. But before that, ladies and gentlemen, we have quite a bit of action for you this evening. And our opening bout is going to be some tag team action in which we're going to see Malibu's Most Wanted taking on La Familia. Now, these two teams, ladies and gentlemen, are up-and-coming teams here in NWC, certainly veterans and rivals back in INCW. No doubt both of these teams want to see their names at the top of the card, challenging for those coveted INCW Tag Championships currently held by the Masked Invaders. Will tonight's match be the start of one of these two teams' ascension to those lofty ranks? Only time will tell. Let's take you to ringside. Folks, I am extremely excited to bring to you this match and all of our matches this evening. Folks, the entire locker room has been buzzing for the last several weeks in anticipation of this climactic supercard. And even though the stars of NWC appearing on tonight's show may not be on the final card, you can feel an electric atmosphere inside this stadium. Everyone is excited. Everyone knows that this is the dance. This is the big show. And there is no such thing as an afterthought match on this evening's programming or on the Full Effect Supercard. The entire roster of the National Wrestling Council and all of its affiliate brands are bringing it. And nothing more so than in this opening match here, we have Malibu's Most Wanted, the eclectic and popular rotund duo from INCW. No doubt they want to continue to show their stuff and show the world just why they were such a popular team during the latter days of iNoob Championship Wrestling. These two can put on one hell of a show, and they had a climactic championship match against the Masked Invaders during the final seasons of INCW. They came within a hair's breadth of taking those championships, and Lord knows these two would love nothing more than to find themselves in that position again. But if they're going to achieve that, they're going to have to take on another tenured INCW team, and that is the mafioso trio known as La Familia. That is, of course, Miss Tiffany, the Dawn of the family, as it were, and of course she is flanked by Big Tony and Little Anthony. Look at that here, Big Tony heading down. He's practically blocking out the sun. You can't see his compatriots at all behind his mammoth frame. But of course, behind him there you see the ever-dapper made man, Little Anthony, and the boss, the Don, the one behind it all, the beauty and brains behind the family, Miss Tiffany. These three are looking sharp in some new duds, excited to be here on the grandest stage of them all. And La Familia would love nothing more than to see themselves vaulted up those ranks and challenging for a championship or defending a championship at an upcoming Supercard event in the near future. Goodness gracious, look at the size of Big Tony. Folks, I am so excited to be here with you tonight. There is an electricity in the air. NWC Tonight is always destination television, but tonight, especially above all others, it feels like the start of something, folks. I've been incredibly proud to be a part of NWC Tonight this whole season, but it feels like we are just now finally hitting on all cylinders. The referee has rung the bell, and we have started, and immediately Fatback of Malibu's Most Wanted is starting off strong. It's a series of ham hock-like fists to the chest of Big Tony. I believe he's caught the big man off guard. And boy, and look at that, trying to give what's for to Little Anthony there, but gets turned back. But still, just absolutely a house of fire, just beating the holy heck out of Big Tony. Fatback making a tag off to Milk Dud. Both of Malibu's Most Wanted, extremely large individuals, but even with their not inconsiderable size, Big Tony just dwarfs them. Big Tony standing just shy of the 7-foot mark, and somewhere north of the 400-pound mark for sure. And of course, each of Malibu's Most Wanted is a 300-plus pound slab of muscle? I know there's a lot of muscle in there, folks. You can't move the way that they do at their size without there being a lot of muscle. Big DDT to the concrete below. Or whatever's underneath those mats. Nobody knows, do they? Big Tony firing back. Oh, a series of shots to Milk Dud there. And heads back into the ring. It does not take much. Oh, my goodness! Big shoulder block to Fatback, saying, "Excuse me, gentlemen. I'm walking here." That's what they say in New York, right? I'm walking here. Are you guys from New York? Hard to tell. That's Italy originally, but who knows? Big Tony picking up Milk Dud, walking across the ring with him. Referee's in a bad place there. Milk Dud slammed to the mat, goes for the pin, and immediately Milk Dud's able to grab that rope. We'll just say he's conserving energy, not having to kick out there. Big Tony, regaining some semblance of control, picks up Milk Dud, and oh my goodness, look at that gigantic bear hug, holding 300-plus pounds of Malibu's finest aloft in the air. Milk Dud, a bell clap, forces Big Tony to relinquish his grip. Huge clothesline takes the large Italian down. Milk Dud sends Big Tony to the ropes. Shoulder-to-shoulder collision, irresistible force meeting the immovable object. Not so immovable after all, though. My goodness, huge German suplex, followed by an inside-out clothesline and a pin. And immediately Fat back in to break up that pin. These two teams extremely on point today. Definitely a lot on the line for each of these of these duos. Tony trying to command his man, take him over to his corner, but gets elbowed for his trouble. Oh, Milk Dud with a huge right hand to the solar plexus. And a second one, just rocking Big Tony. And a third one, 3 huge punches to the gut. Goes for a pin. Little Anthony there, doing his part, helping out his big brother. And a big headbutt by Milk Dud as well. You know, Milk Dud doesn't have a lot of hair, but he makes the most of what he's got, let me tell you. That is one Heyman-esque ponytail. Milk Dud picks up Big Tony. And Tony fires back with a knee. And look at that huge face-first slam into the mat. Broken up immediately by Fatback. Looks like Milk Dud's going to have to take a powder there, regroup a little bit, while Big Tony goes to work on the man outside the ring, trying to see that Milk Dud is isolated. Oh, and look outside the ring, Little Anthony trying to do the same, but gets kicked in the face for his troubles. It looks like, at least for the moment, Fatback has been neutralized outside the ring, and Milk Dud not doing much better. Big Tony is a one-man army. He is handling both of these men on his own. Little Anthony has not had the chance to tag in as of yet. But Milk Dud taking none too kindly to Big Tony's actions there, and attacking Little Anthony, dropping him spine first on that apron. Tit for tat. And look at this. It looks as if Big Tony's going to do the same. Saying, oh yeah, you're going to hit my man? You put one of my men in the hospital, we put one of yours in the morgue. That's what they say, isn't it? In the family. Fatback out cold on the outside of the ring there. Milk Dud again going to the solar plexus. I tell you, Big Tony has never looked better. He's always been a large man, but if I didn't know better, I'd say that he's spent some time in the gym, because he's not quite the same girthy individual that he was before. He's definitely put on some power, shed a couple of pounds on that waistline. Big Tony, certainly one of the strongest men in NWC. He had a climactic cage match with Chonk back in INCW. Really a match that put Chonk on the map. And also be remiss to not mention that Big Tony is a former INCW champion. So this man has the championship pedigree to match his size. Big German suplex, perhaps an Italian suplex. And a clothesline takes down Milk Dud, and he is measuring his man. What is he going to do? Oh, catches him for that face buster, but oh! Milk Dud reverses it into a slam. Oh, all that weight coming down on Big Tony. Tags out to Little Anthony, a completely fresh man now. But Milk Dud sends him to the corner. Pretty large size differential here. Little Anthony is definitely fighting outside of his weight class. And speaking of weight classes, ladies and gentlemen, this is a good time to mention the fact that we're going to be having, at Full Effect, a 4-way dance to determine a #1 contender for Derek Arzon's light heavyweight championship. Little Anthony will be in that match. Manages a quick kick out, though. Kick out at 2.5. Little Anthony's still in this thing. But yes, folks, Little Anthony, one of the few competitors on tonight's card who will also be competing at Full Effect. So look forward to that there as we see the light heavyweights tussle at Full Effect. Certainly the opposite of that happening in 3/4 of the ring here. Milk Dud has Little Anthony up and slams him hard to the mat. But Milk Dud, the cumulative effects of Big Tony's attack are preventing him from making a quick capitalizing on that effort. Big Tony in to break up the pinfall. Milk Dud sending Anthony to the corner, taking his time measuring it. Oh, but eats an elbow there. And a Mafia-style side kick. Little Anthony tags out to his big brother. Big Tony choosing his angle of assault. Picking up Milk Dud deadlift into an Oklahoma slam right into the center of the W of our NWC logo. And what in the world is this? Big Tony to the top rope. I hope they've reinforced this thing. Gigantic elbow drop. Milk Dud has been splattered all over that mat. Were it not for the intervention of Fatback, I'm pretty sure that would have been the end of things, folks. Big Tony none too happy about that, though. The crowd really getting into this. You know, these two teams started out, both of them as comedy duos, but over the years they have shown themselves to be extremely potent tag team competitors. Big slam on Milk Dud. And another one of those large... Oh my goodness, again for a second time in a row, Milk Dud reverses it, slams all that weight down on Big Tony, and makes a tag out to Fatback. Big time shoulder block sends Big Tony flying through the air. You too will believe that an Italian man can fly. Big punch to the side of Little Anthony's head as Fatback does his best to neutralize the partner of the big man, preventing any sort of a hot tag from occurring. And now Fatback, looks like he was going to make a tag, but thought better of it, only to eat a flying neck breaker from the big man. Ooh, big knee shiver right to the side of the temple there. And Big Tony taking a moment to preen to the crowd, but did not prevent that tag, though. But did manage another one of those leaping neck breakers. Shocking agility for a man that size. Oh my goodness, this time deadlift into a Dominator right into the middle of the ring. And picks him up. Third time's the charm. Huge Mafia face buster. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, and 3. Your winners this evening, Big Tony, Little Anthony, and Miss Tiffany. La Familia has shown what they can do, has reminded the NWC Nation just how potent a tag team, how potent an in-ring force the family can be. You know the NWC Championship Committee must be taking a good long look at this one when they consider future contenders for the INCW Tag Team Championship. An excellent showing tonight by La Familia as we prepare for Full Effect. And of course, at Full Effect, we will be seeing that Tag Team Championship on the line as the Masked Invaders, the reigning defending INCW Tag Team Champions, do take on the Diners Club in the form of Gorgon Ramsay. I'm sorry, not Gorgon Ramsay, in the form of Shade and Vinny Durango. Gorgon Ramsay, of course, in singles action, defending his newly acquired INCW Championship against the Surgical Specialist, Hero Wild. Folks, we have a ton more action for you this evening. But first, we'd like to take a moment to recognize our official sponsor of Full Effect. Yes, indeed, folks, the NWC is going places. We have a sponsor for tomorrow evening's show, and that is, of course, Schneebo's Fleet Foot. Yes. I've got to be honest, folks. I don't know what this is. This is Maverick Jack Johnson's baby. He made some calls, and we have a sponsor. In fact, we even have, if I'm not mistaken, I believe the light heavyweight #1 contender 4-way dance that we're going to be seeing is going to be sponsored by Schneebo's. Again, looking at this logo, I don't know what this is, but it is undoubtedly a fine product that we are lucky to be affiliated with. All right, ladies and gentlemen, on to our next match. And what a very interesting encounter it is. Folks, we have Jeremy Mason versus Firewall. Now, we're going to need to go back a couple weeks to explain the story behind this one. Vinny Durango of the Diners Club has created a championship belt. It is his own personal property. It is the big championship, the bona fide Intranet Grand Championship. And he has said that other grapplers in the NWC may contend for it. All they have to do in order to earn a title shot is to defeat Firewall. And Firewall is his, we'll just call him his Vinny Durango's personal security. The first man to earn a shot against Firewall was Giant Anaconda. And Giant Anaconda showed up to face Vinny Durango's gatekeeper, as it were, and it turned out that the gatekeeper was in fact a costumed, masked Jeremy Mason. And using the element of surprise, Jeremy Mason was able to defeat Giant Anaconda and stop the Cold Snake's ambitions toward earning a shot at Vinny Durango's personal property championship. In the weeks since then, we've seen the Cold Snakes fight Jeremy and Kid Mason, and we've actually also seen Jeremy Mason say to Vinny Durango that he would now like a shot at that big championship. And Vinny Durango was only too happy to tell him, sure, you bet. All you got to do is beat Firewall. So that is how we got here. Jeremy Mason is going to take on some other incarnation of Firewall. Of course, last time we saw Firewall, it was Jeremy Mason in disguise. So who has Vinny Durango managed to wrangle up this time to take on Jeremy Mason and protect his BIG championship? Of course, Mason, an accomplished veteran of INCW, you're going to have to get up pretty early in the morning to put one over on him, and here we have Firewall coming on down, and, okay, well, I don't want to speculate, but the distinctive, movements and physical gesticulations of Firewall seem to paint him as perhaps a familiar character. I'll do my best not to speculate right now, but I think that perhaps Giant Anaconda has called upon a compatriot of his to get some revenge on Jeremy Mason. One good Firewall deserves another, and while that is certainly not Giant Anaconda in that creative getup, well, I guess we'll just have to see. Perhaps I'm reading too much into things. Jeremy Mason ready to take on Firewall. Referee is ringing the bell, and Mason immediately going in, and a big-time backbreaker on Firewall, followed by a double foot stomp. Goodness me. Mason, the much larger competitor, short brain buster. Quite a big size difference between Jeremy Mason and the man currently shown to be Firewall. This is the third time that a Firewall has competed in NWC this season. First time, we saw a medium-sized gentleman who has as of yet been unidentified in the Make Your Mark Battle Royal. Next, we saw a very large version of Firewall, and that turned out to be Jeremy Mason in disguise. Mason, trying to get past that referee, wants to get some revenge here against, or not revenge, but get what he thinks is owed to him, a shot at Vinny Durango's championship. Jeremy Mason really taking it to this much smaller third incarnation of Firewall. Big time, just going to work on the left leg. Jeremy Mason is a lot of things. He's not particularly known for his subtlety, though, I'll tell you that. Goes for a pin. 1, 2, and Firewall able to kick out. Jeremy Mason, a big kick, just takes the smaller masked man out. And it looks like Firewall's going to take a breather outside if Jeremy Mason lets him, and it looks like he's not going to. A huge flipping senton inside the ring to the floor below by the largest member of the Mason family. Look at this here, Jeremy Mason just stuffing Firewall, throwing him down, and if I'm Vinny Durango, I may be thinking twice about my choice for the person standing between myself and having to defend that title. And if I am this incarnation of Firewall, I also have to question the wisdom of taking on a match against such an imposing large figure. Big backdrop suplex on Firewall. And following it up with a big knee drop outside that ring. Jeremy Mason definitely seizing an opportunity here. Just a series of kicks, punches, a hard knee shiver. This may not last long, ladies and gentlemen. You may be looking at the man who is going to actually have a chance to face Vinny Durango one-on-one for that BIG championship, unless the winds shift dramatically. Mason sends Firewall just careening across the ringside area. Heads inside the ring. A count-out victory would be a victory. He'll take it any way he can get it. Oh, Firewall reverses Jeremy Mason's efforts. And a flipping destroyer. Oh my goodness. 1, 2. 2 count. He looks like he caught Jeremy Mason sleeping, but but Firewall definitely has one heck of a challenge ahead of him. Oh my goodness, what amazing strength! Were he another wrestler, we might have called that a snake bite. But out of nowhere, a Michinoku driver style maneuver, and out just like that, Firewall has started to take over. Again, he bears more than a passing resemblance in his movements to a diminutive cold snake. Bounces off the ropes. Oh my goodness, what an innovative maneuver. Sort of a scissor drop kick to the back of the head. And look at that, just grinding Mason's face into the mat, showing some disrespect here. Perhaps trying to earn a little bit of payback for seeing Giant Anaconda so embarrassed in the ring there. Goes for the pin. 1, 2, and Mason with a shoulder up. Still a lot of fight in this nearly 7-foot-tall gargantuan man. Big suplex, picks him up, and one more snake bite. A second snake bite, or whatever you want to call it there. And out of nowhere, a pair of maneuvers this diminutive version of Firewall has put away Jeremy Mason, turning back for the second time a challenger for Vinny Durango's BIG championship. I'm not sure how far this game is going to go, but as of yet, Vinny Durango still not having to defend that title. We'll have to see if Season 2 brings with it new challengers. And perhaps new men under the identity of under that Firewall mask. And as far as this particular gentleman, I do believe a pair of cold snakes may have arranged a bit of vengeance there. And you'll notice this Firewall here was pointing at his waist as if to say, "I'd like a shot at that championship." So who knows? Perhaps Vinny Durango is only making problems for himself. Folks, we have plenty more action on tap for this evening, but before we head back to the ring, I'd like to highlight a feud that has become one of the most heated rivalries in the history of the National Wrestling Council. I am, of course, talking about the blood feud between Danica Raybon and Alyssa Wilde that has commanded a large amount of attention this season. It all started with potentially a misunderstanding, but it devolved into something much more sinister. And now, on the eve of Full Effect, these two young ladies are prepared to face each other in a Hell in a Cell Bayou Death Match. This is a vicious, no-holds-barred contest that originated in South Bayou Wrestling, where Danica Raybon, under a different identity, competed for several years. Now these two will look to settle the score, but before we see that match tomorrow at Full Effect, it would be appropriate for us to go back and take a look at how we got where we are. This all began at the beginning of the season with a backstage brawl, an unexpected attack backstage. We still don't know who started it, but Alyssa Wilde and Danica Raven were arguing over a bad referee call that extended back to their relationship in INCW. But very quickly, this became extremely personal. A backstage brawl followed by some very harsh words on Maverick Jack Johnson's podcast, and then that was followed by a vicious wrestling match in which these two were attempting to one-up each other, and we saw Danica Raven score what some thought at the time was an unexpected win over the veteran Alyssa Wilde. And that was only the beginning of Danica Raven's rise this season, as she had a series of tremendous matches, culminating with a title shot against Nikki Wilde. Unfortunately, Alyssa Wilde was assigned as the guest referee for that match, and a controversial referee's call saw Danica Raven robbed of her opportunity at Nikki Wilde's INCW Championship. And sadly, this feud took a dark turn as Danica Raven's partner, Trisha Roberts, inadvertently found herself on the wrong end of a super kick that sent her to the hospital, and put Danica Raven in an extremely emotional state where she has vowed vengeance at all costs against Alyssa Wilde. A lot of demons to be exercised in that particular encounter. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now back to in-ring action. We have here a special fatal four-way heavyweight contest. As you saw earlier, at Full Effect, we're going to be seeing a four-way light heavyweight championship opportunity match sponsored by Schneebos to determine the number one contender to Derek Arzon's PWA light heavyweight championship. Well, PWA also has a heavyweight championship currently held by the Spoiler 3, and far be it from the heavyweight representatives of the National Wrestling Council to allow themselves to be overshadowed at Full Effect. So tonight, on the eve of Full Effect, we're going to be seeing an exhibition encounter between four big hosses, four large and in-charge heavyweight competitors. And of course, coming down to the ring right now, Billy Cody. Of course, Billy Cody would love a shot at the Spoiler 3's PWA Heavyweight Championship at some point in the future. And while this match is not a number one contenders match, as the Light Heavyweight Championship opportunity match will be, certainly it is an opportunity for these large and in-charge men to assert themselves and to jockey for position as we approach Season 2 of NWC. Of course, Billy Cody came very close to winning an opportunity at Damian Black's NWC World Championship as a participant in the round-robin tournament that is concluding at Full Effect. Certainly, he's looking for a chance to get back on the horse, as it were, and reassert himself as a dominant force. Speaking of dominant forces, here we have Ravage, one half of the tag team Insult to Injury. Both Ravage and his tag team partner Rampage are absolute physical specimens, large, physically impressive, heavyweights in every sense of the word. They exude energy and a commanding, forceful presence. They are the definition of the irresistible force. Certainly, Ravage would love any opportunity to exercise that force against other members of the heavyweight division. This should be an excellent showcase for this new star here in NWC. And now heading down to the ring to join Ravage and Billy Cody, we have someone who you might not think of when you think of heavyweights, Richard Pennyworth III, but he qualify. He is in excess of that 230-pound mark. He stands at 6'2". He is a physical specimen in every sense of the word. Recently, coming off of a trying showing in the round robin tournament. Now, Richard Pennyworth is a PWA veteran, a former PWA heavyweight champion. A very, very high-ranking technical competitor, but since joining NWC, his career has been a little bit snake-bit. After taking some time off to run his Fortune 500 company, he's come back to find the competition extremely stiff, and he has definitely been frustrated at his lack of momentum in the ring. Hopefully, a good showing here can put him back on the right track. Coming off of a very rough record in the NWC Round Robin Tournament, Richard Pennyworth is looking to remind everyone in the NWC nation just what a pedigree he brings to the ring. And our final competitor for this 4-man exhibition match, we have the one and only Giant Anaconda of the Cold Snakes. Giant Anaconda is, of course, a super heavyweight by any definition. He stands 6 foot 6 inches tall. He weighs in excess of 300 pounds. He has been a veteran of PWS, PWA, INCW, and now the Blanket National Wrestling Council main roster. He most recently faced Firewall, as we talked about earlier tonight, in an attempt to earn a shot at Vinny Durango's unofficial BIG championship. But now he looks to assert himself and take on someone who he has faced many times before. In the Spoiler 3, he would love a shot at being the PWA heavyweight champion. So these 4 large men on the eve of full effect, looking to exert and account for themselves in the heavyweight division. The referee has rung the bell, and this 4-way elimination bout is underway. A hard-hitting affair for sure. Giant body slam onto Ravage. Anaconda going for an early pin, while meanwhile Richard Pennyworth delivers a crisp textbook backbreaker on Billy Cody. All 4 of these men with a lot to prove. Both Billy Cody and Richard Pennyworth interested in tangling with the rest of the roster after their entire season was absorbed by their participation in the NWC Round Robin Championship Tournament. And of course, Giant Anaconda and Ravage, no strangers to each other. These two have had a sordid rivalry. They've become quite the group of frenemies, the Cold Snakes, an insult to injury. I believe they're currently in the process of trying to get along rooming together. What that holds for their future, who knows? But they are certainly 2 teams looking to showcase themselves in any division that they're presented the opportunity. And look at this, Ravage has brought a chair into the ring. Anaconda temporarily able to stuff his attempts to utilize it. But Anaconda now holding on to those solid steel steps. This being an elimination match, of course, it is contested under no DQ rules. Oh wow! Richard Pennyworth just clocked right between the eyes by that very heavy set of steel steps. Oh my goodness, suplex straight into the steps, neck and head first, while inside the ring, Ravage has managed to take hold of that steel chair and is just pasting Billy Cody with it. And outside the ring, Anaconda has another chair. Goodness, if this is any hint of what is to come at full effect. That's going to be one heck of an evening of action. You can see here all of the stars of NWC are primed. They are ready. They are eager to show exactly what they can do to the NWC Nation here. Goodness gracious, inside the ring, Billy Cody beating the heck out of Ravage, while if you saw Anaconda managed to powerbomb Richard Pennyworth onto that apron. Billy Cody taking it to the middle rope, goes for a splash, catches nothing but mat though. And Ravage manages to drop Billy Cody in a sleeper hold drop, but gets dropped himself with a steel chair to the back of the dome by Giant Anaconda. Outside the ring, Richard Pennyworth and Billy Cody renewing their rivalry. Inside the ring, Anaconda making full use of that hardware. Richard Pennyworth holding his own outside against a variety of big men here. He is by far the smallest man in this match, but also the man with the most to prove, as he desperately wants to get back to his winning ways. Pennyworth sent shoulder first into those steps by Billy Cody. And again, folks, this is an elimination encounter, so we're going to keep going here until 3 of these 4 men have either been pinned or made to submit. There are no countouts. There are no disqualifications in a match of this nature. Inside the ring, Billy Cody and Richard Pennyworth. This should be unusual, friends, where usually you see a lot of people trying to break up pins, but in an elimination-style affair like this, there is no incentive for an opponent to save another opponent. They want to see people eliminated by any means necessary. Oh my goodness, huge Samoan drop on the floor. Ravage to Giant Anaconda. And over on the other side over there in the aisle, Billy Cody, what's he going to do? He's got Richard Pennyworth up. Delayed suplex right onto his back on that hard surface. And going to the other side of the ring there, we have Giant Anaconda with a double arm suplex. And on the other side, a big vertical suplex. Calling 2 simultaneous encounters out here, folks. Giant Anaconda has managed to find himself a kendo stick and is beating the head and shoulders of Ravage. While on the other side of the ring, Billy Cody is continuing to assert his dominance. Cody now wanting to get him some of the big men over there. Big clothesline, huge Western-style lariat takes out Giant Anaconda, but Anaconda coming back hard and fast with a big loaded headbutt straight to the dome. Richard Pennyworth now the only man standing, taking it to Giant Anaconda. Series of right hands and chops and a short DDT right onto that mat. And Richard Pennyworth takes out Billy Cody with a clothesline to the back of the head. So far, no one approaching an elimination as of yet, but certainly all 4 parties doing a tremendous amount of damage to each other. Wow, sandwich-style double lariat from Ravage and Giant Anaconda taking Richard Pennyworth down. And a big clothesline from Billy Cody takes Ravage down as well. Inside the ring now, Richard Pennyworth trying to make the most of his opportunities here. He's taking it to Giant Anaconda, stomps hard on that arm. That's going to set Anaconda up for that Rings of Saturn-style submission hold he calls the cash advance. But oh no, Billy Cody has Richard Pennyworth set up for a powerbomb. Big-time powerbomb. Oh my goodness, at the last minute, Ravage kicked those stairs out of the way. I thought we were going to see Pennyworth get powerbombed right on those stairs. Able to avoid a pinfall just by a tenth of a second. Managed to get a shoulder up. Ravage sent knees first into that set of stairs. Goodness me. And now look at this. A double team with Anaconda and Billy Cody taking out Richard Pennyworth. Uh-oh, what is this? Oklahoma Stampede right onto the steel chair for Ravage. Wow, and Ravage somehow able to kick out. I have no idea how he managed to get his shoulders up, ladies and gentlemen. That was an Oklahoma Stampede by Billy freaking Cody straight onto that steel chair. Billy Cody, currently the only man standing, has both those hands up, hook 'em horns for the audience, letting them know what Western strong means to him. But Giant Anaconda letting Billy Cody know what the Anaconda coils mean to him. Submission hold in the middle of the ring. Is Billy Cody going to be our first man out? And ladies and gentlemen, Giant Anaconda has forced Billy Cody to tap out to the ever-deadly Anaconda coil submission hold. We are down to 3 men left. Ravage sends Anaconda flying across the ring, goes for a pin, 1, and only a 1 count. Richard Pennyworth now standing toe-to-toe with Ravage. He has managed to brave quite a daunting challenge so far, taking on 3 men much bigger than himself. But he has already outlasted Billy Cody. Can he be the last man standing? Oh my goodness! Forward rolling attack by Ravage. A Finley roll. And Anaconda coils on Ravage by Giant Anaconda. Ravage has been forced to tap as well. In rapid succession, Giant Anaconda has tapped out both Billy Cody and Ravage, showing the world what the big silent man can do. Rolls Pennyworth over. Is this going to be it, ladies and gentlemen? 1, 2, and 3. Oh, wow. What an unexpected show of dominance by the masked man. Giant Anaconda able to eliminate all 3 of his opponents. A pair of Anaconda coils and a timely pinfall over Richard Pennyworth. And your winner of this pure exhibition match in the heavyweight division, Giant Anaconda. And I would be remiss if I didn't say that Giant Anaconda has made some waves recently, being one of the last competitors standing in the Make Your Mark Battle Royal, having an excellent showing against Firewall, and now defeating 3 other men in a fantastic exhibition match. What will Season 2 bring for the Cold Snakes? Who knows? Ladies and gentlemen, we have just 1 match left this evening, but before we do so, I did want to highlight one other major feud that we have seen here in NWC tonight as of late, and that is the growing feud between Forever Unchained and Sanctum. This all began back when the Spoiler was still involved in the round robin championship tournament, and while it looked as if he was a front runner to win the whole thing, a returning Rhett Holiday attacked the Spoiler from behind, just driving him into the ground, injuring him, and being an instrumental factor in preventing him from winning the round-robin tournament. In fact, the reason that we're having this triple threat match is largely due to that single loss by the Spoiler, preventing a quick and decisive end to the tournament. Spoiler had a tremendously good record, and he was 1 victory away from shoring up the deal. But the fallen Rhett Holiday came back and attacked him. And then the following week, we saw Sanctum return in force. Both Oliver and Evelyn Sin attacking FU backstage, attacking Nikki Wilde, attacking Derek Arzon, and attacking the Spoiler 3. And that, of course, resulted in the match that we are going to see at full effect, where Forever Unchained is going to be facing Sanctum in a tag team encounter. And that should be an absolutely tremendous match. Looking forward to it very much. And that match is officially going to be the Spoiler 3 and Derek Arzon taking on Rhett Holiday and Oliver Sin. And of course, they'll be flanked by Evelyn Sin. This is probably not going to be the last time we see these 2 groups fight each other, folks. It should be an absolutely tremendous match, though. And speaking of tremendous matches, we now are at our main event of the evening for this NWC kickoff show. And for our main event tonight, we're going to see quite the interesting match. Our final bout of the evening pits Laniev against Karashika. Now, these 2 young ladies have fought each other on 2 separate occasions in NWC, and we're beginning to see the start of a competitive rivalry between two opposing forces. Laniev, of course, a veteran luchador from PWA. Kirishika, having recently made waves in South Bayou Wrestling. These two collided a few weeks ago for the first time on NWC Tonight, and while Kirishika did get the victory, it was a narrow one. Laniev had some tremendous offense there, and that match really could have gone either way. These two fought each other a second time in a multi-woman match that saw their aggressions increase. We saw some chairs and kendo sticks brought into the mix. And now, finally, in this second singles bout, we're going to have a chance to see both Laniev and Kirishika advance in this rivalry and really take their place in the upper echelon of the women's division. Certainly, these two both have a lot to prove, and this should be a tremendous encounter. Of course, Laniev, a veteran of PWA's light heavyweight division. Of course, PWA does not have a dedicated women's division, and that means that Laniev has a tremendous amount of experience facing people along the lines of Derek Arzon, the White Rabbit, Nikki Wilde, Pantero, other amazing luminaries in the under 215-pound division. She, in fact, was a front-runner for the PWA Light Heavyweight Championship, currently held by Derek Arzon. And certainly she would love a chance to, here in NWC, advance to be considered a top contender for Nikki Wilde's INCW Women's Championship. Kirishika, on the other hand, had a tremendous rivalry in South Bayou Wrestling against Victoria Prime, and as we mentioned before, she turned down a basketball scholarship to pursue professional wrestling, and she is a tremendous physical specimen. What she lacks in experience, she makes up for in raw power and size. There is not a tremendous amount of finesse in her game at this moment, but she has been physically dominating in every encounter that she has had. If there is any criticism that could be levied at Kirishika at this time, it is that her size, her strength, her dominance have allowed her to physically manhandle every opponent that she's encountered, and because of that, she has not had the need to really get into the deep water fighting for her life against a superior force, because there simply has not been a superior force. Now, last week, or I should say a few weeks ago when she fought Laniev, we got to see a hint of that. Laniev, a very experienced star, a tremendously skilled opponent, and many times she had Kirishika on the ropes. In fact, it looked as if Laniev was going to score a win on multiple occasions, but at the end of the day, it just took one solitary power maneuver from Kirishika to put the lights out on Laniev. But she learns with every encounter, and has Laniev found what it takes to bring down this massive challenge. Certainly, the winner of this match has to be taken seriously and considered a top-shelf contender for any title here in NWC for which they are eligible. Kirishika, a tremendously intimidating figure. That death mask that she wears on the way to the ring, coupled with her tremendous size and just intimidating visage, would put the fear of God into just about any competitor. But Laniev has a lot of experience herself taking on superior forces. It's hard to be intimidated when you've stood toe-to-toe with the likes of Viktor Sokolov in PWA's intergender competition. Kirishika coming off the ropes with a big splash to the prone Laniev as her mentor Snow looks on. Snow outside the ring, of course, looking healthy. He was recently attacked backstage by an unidentified assailant. We never did get a resolution for that situation. It is good to see him on the mend and back by the side of Laniev. I know that she appreciates that. Outside the ring, these two continue their battle. Kirishika sent to the barricade, and Laniev whips her back first to the barricade a second time before heading back into the ring, taking her time, making sure to set her own pace here. That's going to have to be the only way she can do things here. Oh my goodness! An attempted suicide dive between the ropes. Kirishika manages to avoid it and slide back into the ring. That is a setback that I don't know if Laniev can afford. Kiyoshika, now in control, has Niev up, slams her kidneys first onto that top turnbuckle, and sends her flying away into the center of the ring. Kiyoshika, choke slam right into the center of the ring. Oh my goodness, and just hammering on the back of the decorated luchador. Kiyoshika going through gesticulations in the corner, perhaps a bit of mind game though, able to use that to duck out of the way, sends Niev crashing into the corner. Kiyoshika, as of yet, managing to maintain a pace that favors her smash mouth style. Kiyoshika has Niev up and just delivers a solid right hand to the temple. Sends Niev to the far corner and splash, a huge avalanche right into the corner, and attempts a clothesline but misses. Will that give Niev a chance to turn things around? Not yet. Kiyoshika shoves her down, utilizing her superior strength. That's what we were talking about earlier, folks. Kiyoshika has usually been able to overwhelm her opponents. But that agility and technique coming into play. A big mushroom stomp right to the chest and throat area of Kiyoshika. And Niev slowly chopping away, sends Kiyoshika to the corner, stunned. Manages to get her up onto that top turnbuckle. What is she going to do? Niev climbing to the top. What is this, ladies and gentlemen? Spanish fly from the top rope. Kiyoshika suddenly out of nowhere has been caught flat-footed. What is Niev going to do next? Big time moonsault out of nowhere. 1, 2. Ladies and gentlemen, just like that, sudden, fast. Kiyoshika was caught. I don't think she saw that coming. I don't know what to say. Folks, that was shockingly fast. Kiyoshika is a monster, and I think she just had the wind absolutely taken out of her unexpectedly quick. Niev has managed to score a surprise pinfall. You know that's not going to sit well with Kiyoshika, but what momentum that has given Niev. I don't want to call it an upset because Niev brings with her a wealth of experience, but I don't think any of us saw this coming that fast. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, just like that, our main event of the evening has concluded, and there is now nothing standing between us and NWC Full Effect. In less than 24 hours, your senses will be assaulted by nearly 3 hours of top-shelf NWC Supercard action. I am so excited to have the opportunity to bring this to you along with my broadcast colleague Gary Bloomfield, and a special appearance by Maverick Jack Johnson, and, well, maybe some other surprise guests as well. Ladies and gentlemen, tune in to the NWC Wrestling Network less than 24 hours from now as you experience NWC Full Effect, the culmination of rivalries, the setting of the stage for what will be the second season of NWC. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ronnie Stockholm, and I have been proud to bring you this full season of NWC Tonight. This upcoming Supercard event will mark the final NWC Tonight of the current season. What will follow next will be a short break, a redesign of our set, and a reloading of our roster, and then we will come back to you in a couple of weeks with Season 2 of NWC. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us, and please tune in to this upcoming spectacular NWC Full Effect.